Hey there, welcome back to Limabean Crafting. In today's video, I will be showing you how I made this easy wall decor using only one Dollar Tree product. So let's get to it. For this craft, you will need some yarn from the Dollar Tree. I picked up this fluffy yarn a while ago, but they have other options too. In a recent haul video on my Motherhood channel, I shared some other choices you might enjoy. Stay tuned for a fun craft using these colors in the future. In addition to the yarn, you will also need a stick from outside. I saved this stick when we were cutting our trees, but you could probably find a nice sized one out on a nature walk. The first thing I did was unravel my yarn, which seemed to take forever, and then I used the lines in my table to cut uniform strands of the yarn, about 3 feet long. I continued doing this until my strands, when laying side by side, were about as wide as the length of my stick. I also want to note that the yarn that I picked up had these little fluffy balls throughout it. If you don't like these, you could easily remove the strands that contain them, but I kept them to add some more dimension to my craft. When I was done preparing my strands, it was time to attach them to my stick. To do this, I folded the yarn in half. I then took the center fold of the yarn and brought it behind my stick so that it resembled a loop. Then I pulled the end strands of the yarn through this loop and pulled it tight. I repeated this process until about 3 inches of stick was exposed on either side. I didn't leave any space between each piece of yarn, but if you wanted a less full look, you could leave a little space between each new addition. Also, like I mentioned before, I decided to keep the strands with the little balls. I wanted them to appear with no particular pattern, but if you wanted them to be more symmetrical or form a design, you could strategically cut your yarn to do that. Then I decided to tie a strand of yarn to each end of the stick to hang the wall decor. However, you don't have to do this. You could easily hammer in 2 nails to the wall and then hang your decor on those nails, hiding them between the yarn hanging from the stick. You could end here, but I decided to clean up the bottom of this craft because I didn't like how the yarn looked frayed and a little messy. I ended up cutting the ends of the yarn to form a semicircle, but you could cut the strands to form a V or a zigzag or some other pattern to fit your aesthetic. With my extra yarn, I decided to create another decoration you could use to hang from the stick. I began with a piece of yarn folded in half. Then I took little strands of the yarn and secured them to this folded piece by tying the same knot I used before. But this time I alternated which side the end pieces would end up on. This technique creates something that resembles a feather. To give it a more realistic look, I outlined and then trimmed the yarn. Using a looped center strand creates a loop on top, so if you wanted, you could create about 5 different sized feathers to hang from the stick for a different design. I am really happy with how this craft turned out, and I hope you are too. If you are new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I will catch you in the next one.